Hi everyone, so it's Bryony from the Indecisive Readers, and today I have Sam beside me, but we don't actually have a camera turned on, we just have some audio. Because for a while we were thinking about doing a podcast, but have just never got round to it, and then lockdown, and we haven't been together, even though it would probably be easier actually to film a podcast. But I'm babbling, so hi Sam.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay.
That's good.
What are we doing today?
Podcast.
Okay, you're not going to talk about what the podcast is about?
Books.
Okay. Basically we're going to kind of do a podcast sometimes on things that we don't necessarily have loads to talk about, but we need almost some filler. I think we're going to do some writing ones, we're going to do some on books, and today we are doing it on books. We're doing it on 3 books that over the last kind of few months we've both read. Do you want to start with a good one or a bad one?
Let's get the bad one out of the way first.
Okay. So the bad one is one that we've tried talking about a few times before, and that is Aurora Burning by Amie Kaufman and J. Kristoff. This is the sequel to Aurora Burning, and...
No, it's the sequel to Aurora Rising.
Okay, thank you. It's a sequel to Aurora Rising. Do you want to talk about the book? What it's about?
A bunch of different characters who all have the same internal monologue, pretty much.
Okay, so it's about this guy called Tyler, who is the kind of space cadets all-star pupil. Yeah. And on the night of the final exam, he goes to save the galaxy, of course, because he's like Prince Charming. And when he's out there saving someone, he finds this girl in kind of... I can't think what the thing is, where they're like in a pod, and then they get woken up a few years later. There's a word for it. Okay. And he finds her, and it turns out that she's the secret to saving the universe. But obviously, because he's missed his final exam, he hasn't got the pick of the bunch like he thought he would. He's somehow ended up with all the really bad cadets that are actually really good, but just for sake of reasons they're really bad and no one wants them. Sam quite liked the first one.
Yeah, it was alright. It was...
Sam's looking on it with hindsight now.
Yeah. At the time I enjoyed it. Like, it was flawed. There were things about it that really irked me. But yeah, I enjoyed it at the time, yeah. But looking back on it through the lens of this one, just like, why did I put in the effort? Why did I bother? I feel like my life would have actually been richer if I hadn't read either of them, to be honest. Yeah,
because the 2 authors wrote the Illuminae files together, and they were really good. And I feel like that's kind of clouded my enjoyment a little bit of them.
I mean, the Illuminae books are some of my favourite YA sci-fi. Some of my favourite sci-fi period, but possibly my favourite YA sci-fi ever. And I was hoping for more of the same. And we didn't get it, did we?
No, I think what makes Illuminae so good is how it's written. It's nothing necessarily to do with the story.
No.
I think it's how it's written. And I remember picking this up and thinking, I wish this had been like Illuminae. And I know that Illuminae was unique in its like format, but there's no reason to say other books can't be like that.
No. And at least with Illuminae, the narrator, the guy who called everyone Chub, looking at the cameras, he narrated a lot of different people. But at least for him there was an excuse why all those people's narrative voice was him.
Yeah.
With the Aurora books, it's just that they've not bothered to give anyone different personalities.
Yeah.
You know, apart from the one big trait they've got, like the space elf he is warrior. The engineer boy is...
horny.
Well, I mean, they're all horny, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
he's like their token gay character, but not actually gay.
Yeah.
I mean, he fancies everyone, but
still
ends up in a straight relationship.
Yeah, of course.
And then there is one gay one, but not enough girls to go around.
No. And she's also the most interesting one until all of a sudden she's not again.
And she does have a different narrative voice, but she has a total of 40 pages out of 600.
Yeah.
And so we just don't get to read it.
She is a big missed opportunity, isn't she?
Yeah. So, was there anything you actually liked about the sequel?
I mean, moment to moment, it was reasonably entertaining. You know, it was just chase scene after chase scene, but taken individually, they were reasonably entertaining chase scenes.
Yeah. I feel like this book wouldn't have been so bad if they hadn't made 3 books out of it. I feel like they could make 2 books out of it and just cut out a lot of the middle stuff.
Yeah.
Because where this one ends could be like... I mean, I know why it ends there, but I can't work out what could happen to need a 3rd book.
No.
So, presumably they're going to save the universe and it'll be all okay, but... Yeah. Do you think they could have done it like the Illuminae books?
I don't know. I think it was probably a wise decision that they didn't, because I don't think it would have gone down as well second time, because everyone been, oh, that's the only way they can do it. You know, they can't write a proper book. All they've got is this one, let's be honest, gimmick.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know if they could justify it in the same way,
No.
because they justify it in Illuminae, and I think it's really clever why they do it, but I'm not sure if they could justify it in the same way, and so it might not work.
Also, Illuminae would have been a lot worse without Aiden, and there's no way they could really have shoehorned an Aiden-type character into this.
I mean, they got a robot into Aurora Rising.
True, they did get Magellan, but Magellan's an irritating little shit, whereas Aiden's infinitely interesting.
Yeah. What did you think about the pull? The kind of... There's a word for it in Twilight as well.
Yeah, where Jacob imprints.
Thank you.
On an unborn child. But we're not knocking Twilight now, we're knocking Aurora Burning. I liked their relationship. I hated the framing device for it. I liked the time they were together, the time they were growing as a couple.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. It irked the fuck out of me when Aurora just, like, dropped him like he was a fresh turd.
I thought Cal was really interesting. After Zila, I think he might have been my favourite character.
Yeah. I think so too.
But I think... I mean, I think the imprinting thing is weird, but I think it was done in a way where he was like, I do like you, but I understand that you might not like me. And just kind of, he could have left it there.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine if he had left it there. But even though they carried it on, it kind of worked because he allowed her the chance to carry on rather than saying, I shall force myself upon you.
Yeah. Yeah, their relationship, even though we were told it was a slow burn rather than shown the slow burn, if you see what I mean, which was a bit lazy. But it was kind of a slow burn, which I did like. But no, the imprinting thing, I couldn't really go over that. It was a bit odd.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on it before we move on to the next one?
Chi-chis, tatas, ladies, cheekbones.
Yeah. The character descriptions, the physical character descriptions were immensely annoying.
Yeah, weren't they just?
And it went with the narrator. Like, I don't know who's meant to be... There's a character list at the start, and I don't know who's meant to be narrating that, whether it's just the authors kind of putting their own spin on it, but it nearly turned me off the book before I got 10 pages in, didn't I?
Which is ironic, considering it seems to be there mostly just to turn people on. Look at how sexy our characters are. Cal's got cheekbones that could split the atom.
And isn't he aware of that fact?
Yeah. Captain Boy has got America's ass. We watched Endgame last night, and America's ass is what I've taken away from that film.
Well, we could go and talk about another Captain America character.
We could.
In Legendborn.
We could, couldn't we?
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do that.
Nice
segue, yeah.
So yeah, Legendborn is the next one well, it's not the next one, it's the most recent one that we both read. Now, I read it in the start of September and kind of kept talking about it enough to make Sam pick it up towards the end of September, and he listened to the audiobook. So one of my questions is about the audiobook, but I want to just talk about what the book's about first. So Legendborn is about this girl called Bree who is off to a new school just after her mother's died, and she believes that there's more to her mother's death after the first day at the school, where she encounters a magical flying demon, and that prompts her to think that there's more to her mother's death because she vaguely remembers some magic. And so in her investigation to find out more about her mother's death, she gets involved with this society, this kind of school, which is based and built from Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and the Merlins and things, and yeah, she just gets involved in that. So the Captain America character is one of the love interests, one of the knights, and I really like Nick. And Nick and Sel are the two love interests, and I actually liked Sel by the end as well. He was a lot more three-dimensional than just kind of a broody, dark-haired guy.
Yeah, I mean, it was always a bit of a phallus, but once they showed you why he's a bit of a phallus, he was also kind of infinitely sympathetic as well.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the love triangle?
I mean, it was only very subtle and there if you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Because, like, she's still, right at the end, she was still all about Nick.
Yeah.
It's just she noticed Sel, and that's fine, because Sel was very noticeable. Just because you're with someone doesn't mean you don't notice someone else having a perfect V-cut, do you? So, what?
I don't notice that, but okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, not you.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
Other
Most people do. It's a love triangle that you don't know which way it's going to go. I don't think I could tell you which way, but I also couldn't tell you which way I wanted it to go. I'd be quite happy if all three ended up together.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't think they will, because it's a YA book, and, I don't think that would necessarily work in YA. But I think given the relationship they have by the end of the first book, which I don't want to say because spoilers, I think it would make sense for them to, kind of work like that. You know what I mean, don't you? Because you've read it. But, how their, relationship is, I think it's very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how more of that is explored in sequels. It was released the other day that it's going to be 3 books, which I'm very excited about.
Shock horror, it's going to be a trilogy.
I mean, the thing is, I was listening to a podcast, I have sent it to you, I will link it in the description and things, where the author is talking to Marissa Meyer, I think, about the book, and she's saying that this book is a lot of YA tropes.
Yeah.
Chosen One, kind of magical powers, secret society, love triangle, but they're done because a black girl has never had the chance to star in them before.
Yeah.
So I think while some things might seem predictable, you've kind of got to take them with a pinch of salt, because they're things we have seen since 2012, because everyone was writing them.
Yeah.
But they are being written in a new way.
Yes, they are. There is that, for sure. But also, tropes are tropes for a reason. And when they're done well, they can still be hugely entertaining.
Yeah.
Basic food is still basic food. When done well, it's still, really filling and really nourishing, even if it's something you've had before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The tropes didn't... when they're done badly, they throw you out of what you're reading, because you think, this again. But I never once thought, this again with Legendborn.
No.
And possibly it's because I was seeing it through a completely different lens to what I'd seen it through before, but I think also just because they were done really well.
Yeah. Will you be reading the sequel?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. What did you think of the audiobook?
The narrator was very into it. She acted out quite a lot.
Because I quite like that, because the Hunger Games audiobooks did it, and it kind of makes me feel involved in it.
For, I don't know, just pulling a figure out my backside. For 14 of the 15 hours of the runtime, I thought it was spectacular, but every so often, it would slam me out of the experience, and I'd just think, wow, she's really going for it. I wouldn't think, great story, because it'd pull me out of it while she was, really getting into Sel's angst or something.
Yeah, whereas I sometimes... And the reverse, obviously, when we're listening to another audiobook, if, it's annoying me because it's not done well, I'm like, ugh. And that's all I can think about, so I can understand that, I can appreciate that, and I probably will pick up the audiobook because I want to.
Yeah, it's good. It is, personal opinion, isn't it? How much acting is overacting. But no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because I don't own the ebook or the physical book, I only listen to the audiobook. I've been doing late nights at work recently to set up for Christmas, because, Christmas in retail. And I was listening to that, because it was either that or talk with my colleagues. So I had my headphones on, I was listening to that. And I got so into it that on my shifts the next day, I was sneaking off of the shop floor at work.
Were you?
Yeah.
I wondered how you got through it so quickly.
I was sneaking off the shop floor at work for 2 or 3 minutes at a time just to listen to the next bit. It was hugely entertaining.
I thought you had the ebook.
No.
I thought it was the audible narration.
No,
Oh.
I spent my credit on it.
Okay. That was why I thought you were getting through it, because I thought you just kept like looking at your phone.
Or did I? No, I think I did. I think I bought the ebook because I just was too impatient to get back to the audiobook.
Oh, possibly.
So maybe I do own the ebook. But if I do, it's because I bought it after spending my credit on the audiobook.
I really want to ask you about the ending, but I can't, because apparently like something changed from the arc to like the final copy. And I want to reread it to like see what it is. It's nothing like major, but apparently it's like very like specific details that changed the second one.
Right.
And I'm like, I want to know now. It was like barely a day after I finished it, and I'm like, now I must reread it.
Well, I mean, we can finish our discussion. We can discuss the next book and end it, and then have a spoiler discussion if you want.
I mean,
for people who are into the spoilers.
I can't remember the specifics to be able to be like, was it the colour of her shirt? Did that change?
Never mind then.
Yeah, well, I'll reread it and then I'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Sure.
I have given a copy to Meg, so like little sister, and I've brought someone a copy, and 2 people have brought it because I've raved about it, and someone else brought it for someone else, like after seeing me talk about it, and I'm like, this is like my goal. And you've read it as well.
I really dig the magic system in it.
Oh,
like,
the magic
not
is
so
so
much
interesting.
The Arthurian magic system, although that half of it is quite interesting.
Yeah.
You know, the way they do it. I really dig the other side of it, the root.
The root, yeah.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
I don't know if you saw the end, but in my copy, like at the end, the author's like discussing the magic system and the root.
Oh, right.
Like, because it's like something, obviously not actually to do with her heritage, but I assume it's something kind of almost African inspired.
Yeah.
And in said podcast I was talking about earlier, she was talking about how like her whole house is covered in whiteboards, where she was trying to, I mean, it was also to do with the like Arthurian side, where she was like mapping out all the different knights and seeing like where they all connected and things. But yeah, it's very interesting.
See, for me, it added a touch of, I suppose authenticity is the word, because the Arthurian half of the magic system, it was, you know, it almost could have been designed from a position of privilege, I suppose, because it was all, you know, this is our power, take.
Well, that's exactly the point.
Yeah, whereas Root, the magic system that, you know, we've only ever seen people of colour use, and I assume exists, it's like solely their province. It's much more about borrowing and giving rather than taking, and now it's
rather
mine.
than having this innate power, it's about borrowing it from the people before you.
Yeah.
I actually have a point about the whiteness of the.
All right.
I saw a review, because obviously I was looking on Goodreads, being like, I wonder what other people thought, and someone DNF'd it because of the amount of white people in it, which I thought was ironic, because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole point is this kind of history of like whiteness, and that they're seeing her as different.
Yeah, and yeah, it's not like Bree is the token person of colour in it.
I mean, she's one of like a few, like it's her family and her friends that are the people of colour, but that's the point.
Yeah, she's, you know, it kind of exploring the Arthurian side of it through the lens of what she is, and vice versa, and her not being accepted by certain parts of the Arthurian side of it because of what she is.
Yeah.
I really dug it. It was really good. And
also there's like a non-binary person, which I thought was really interesting.
And like, it's never a big thing is made of it.
No.
Bree just refers to them as they.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, this is the character, they are they, whether you like it or not, have it. It's just, you know, not a big thing, it's just they, always they. I really like that. And it took a couple of appearances for me to actually clock it as well. It was, yeah.
I think I have it just because there was a quote about it, and I'm going to try and find it now. Because my review was long. My review was an essay, and the thing kept crashing whilst I was trying to write it. I thought Nick and Sal's relationship was really interesting as well.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I started writing notes when Sal said something about Nick, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw that little reveal coming a mile off.
but it was interesting.
Yeah.
And, like, the end I knew was coming, but I still enjoyed how it happened.
Yeah, see, because the end is a big twist, isn't it? And it almost disappointed... Not the result of it. The result of it I really love. But the twist itself, because there were loads of smaller twists leading up to that, and they all were so impactful. They all hit me for six.
I really liked the ukulele twist.
Yeah.
That one made me giggle in a horrible, morbid way.
But no, that last one I saw coming from, like, the midway point of the book.
But didn't disappoint.
No, the execution of it was great. Yeah. I just wish I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. I found my quote about the non-binary person.
Go for it.
If the world is simple, certain people will never be inconvenienced, never need to adapt. I disrupt those people, and you do too. You've been doing it since you walked in the door. I like disruptors and rhythm breakers. Right. Final book?
Let's do it.
Final book. Right, so the final book we have is Pretending by Holly Bourne, which is Holly Bourne's most recent adult book. And it's about a girl called April who has been out of a relationship for a while. I think it's about 2 years, but the relationship had its problems, and since then she has had trouble finding people that she likes or who like her. And she's basically decided it's because it's her, not this ideal woman called Gretel who embodies everything that men want. And so she decides to, just for like a social experiment, to become Gretel just while she's dating. And then obviously she starts to fall for the guy she is catfishing. Apart from, like, not actually catfishing, but catfishing. What did you think? Okay.
I have many thoughts, and they're very mixed, and I've not really untangled them, and I've kind of just accepted that. I've been fine with the tangled thoughts, because it's not a book you can have simple opinions on, is it?
No, when I've, like, tried to write reviews on it, like, I have many thoughts, but I can't vocalise them.
It was a difficult read and listen at times.
Yeah.
Because, you know, not just in the character's doing something silly way, just in the, you know, the
topic way.
Yeah, yes, the topic, and, you know, horrible things are happening, and I don't like experiencing it alongside them, but I have to keep going anyway. Yeah.
There was a interesting point when we started listening to it, because we listened to most of it together, about 80% of it together, where we didn't like the main character at the start. And I can't remember why we didn't particularly like her at the start, but we said it was to do with Gretel. It was Gretel, not April, that we didn't like.
Yeah, I always liked April, but when she
No, but we didn't at the start.
Donned her Gretel, did we not?
At the start, we both said, I don't like April, but we know that's not her fault.
Right, okay.
It's like how she's voicing all these problems she's had, and how she's, like, taking them out on men and stuff. You're like, that's so frustrating, she doesn't need to do that. But we both agreed that it wasn't her fault, it's a result of the trauma.
Yeah.
And, like, it's really difficult to voice, because you're like, it's not her fault. Like, the things that we don't like about her aren't her fault.
And, you know, the further in the book got, and I suppose the worse April's mental state gets, there's more and more of a separation between her and Gretel.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was very easy to despise Gretel, but just want to, like, hug April.
Yeah. I felt very sorry for April.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. What things do you think Holly Bourne did really well in this? Apart from, like, April's character, because I think we've discussed that.
I mean, everything, to be honest. I can't identify anything she did badly.
I really liked how she handled the recovery.
Yeah, me too.
I liked that April sought out help.
Yes.
But I also liked that there were alternative versions that were offered. So it wasn't just therapy. There were other things that you could seek out to get help with.
Yeah. I mean, it's Holly Bourne, so of course she's going to do it well, because she's incredibly sensitive about this kind of issue, and she's also just incredibly talented. But I liked when she was with the other women who'd all had their history with it.
Yeah.
I really liked the different portrayals of it there, and just the demonstration that it doesn't ever properly heal. You know, even the women who'd had it happen to them years ago were still going because it still affected them, but they'd learned to live with it.
Yeah.
I really appreciated
Yeah.
the I guess honesty in those portrayals.
I think that you can tell that this is a subject that's close to Holly Bourne's heart.
Yeah.
That she's done her research on and also worked with.
Yeah, because she has, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Didn't she basically do April's fake job?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't still do it now, I think she does something similar with young people.
Yeah. Must be a bloody horrible job to do.
Yeah, and I think April shows that.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think of the ending? I like Holly Bourne's happy endings.
Yeah.
Because they're not like fairy tale endings, but they're happy endings.
I really liked how Grateful was snapped back to reality when Josh. I'm so bad with names. When Josh said, you know, why do I always fall for the women who lie? You know, and that kind of snapped her back to reality. Like, this isn't how it's supposed to go. Because, of course, she wasn't... I mean, she was seeing him as a person. That was part of the problem, because she was starting to see him as a soft, squishy person, as well as the straw man for all the bad people.
Yeah, it would have been easier if in the first place she'd found a dick.
Yeah. Rather
than, like, actually a nice guy.
Yeah, and a nice guy who has his own relationship trauma as well. Because, you know, he said that he's fallen for women who've mistreated him as well. You know, lied to him. And yeah, I like that. I'm not sure... I mean, if I was Josh, I don't think I'd have stuck around.
No.
I think I'd have walked out quicker than he did, and I wouldn't have looked back.
I feel like even if he had walked away... Like, he might have come back or something. Yeah. I feel like staying around long enough to, like, hear her explanation is a happy ending kind of thing.
Yeah. I also really liked when he said... I don't think it was quite at the ending. I think it might have been before that. Or maybe it was at the ending. I can't remember. But at one point he mentions that he hasn't liked every part of the relationship. And it came out that the bits where she was trying really hard to be Gretel were the bits that left him really uneasy.
Yeah.
I liked that, because I was thinking the whole time, like, because I know I'm not the kind of man that this book is written about. And Gretel was trying to be attractive to the kind of man the book is written about. But the whole time I was thinking, everything that Gretel's doing, I would hate. I would... You know, when she was deliberately taking a long time to reply to the texts and all that, playing the game horseshit, I'd have hated every second of Gretel.
Make you, like, so anxious, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the relationship parts with April, where she was being, you know, when she was able to be herself, I'd have liked if I was Josh. But the relationship parts with Gretel, they'd have left me feeling horrible.
Yeah.
And I like that they left him feeling horrible too.
I like that Holly Bourne showed Josh as a kind of vulnerable male character. Like,
yes.
He's the one who wants to define the relationship, and he's the one who's, like, cuddly and things.
Yeah.
I thought it was well done. Like you said, it's really hard to unpick all your thoughts about it.
Yeah, because I have lots, and they're all very tangled. And some of them... I was about to say some of them feel contradictory, and they don't really, but it seems like the only word that fits. Like, I have lots of thoughts that, as you've just heard, feel like they need justifications or parentheses along the way. Yeah, it's just a complex book with lots of complex thoughts.
Yeah. Should we end it there?
Why not? Let's end it there.
Seeing as it's half an hour and we thought we'd go for 15 minutes.
It's just a very us conversation, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we did better than we have previously. What I think is really ironic is with both Aurora cycle books, we filmed a video and then decided we hated them.
Well, I mean, for the second one, we filmed it when we were in London, and the temperature was 8 trillion degrees centigrade, and I was sat there with a can of cider going warm against my forehead, sweating myself inside out. And we weren't talking much sense, and we were just dying, and it was a terrible video.
And also, it was like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that too.
Actually, I think it may have even been later.
It might have been.
And then the other one we just, like, didn't get round to because we didn't have the channel for, like, another month. Well, no, I think we may have had it, but the channel was relegated.
Yes, yeah.
We actually want to do a Q&A at some point, so if anyone's at the end of this video and wants to give us a question, go for it. I'm going to probably put it on Twitter and Instagram later. But yeah, if you have made it this far, thank you. Well done for putting up with all our babbles.
All one of you, thank you very much.
Yeah, we may be back. Well, we definitely will be back, I think, because they're easy enough to film. They're probably easy enough for us to do separately.
Yeah.
Like, at the moment, we're literally just laying in bed with a phone between us. But, like, they're easy enough for us to do. And whilst we don't necessarily read the same books together all the time, I feel like we could read similar books or read kind of similar topics.
Yeah.
So even if we didn't read the same book, if we both read a book on fake dating or something, we could both talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for making it this far.
Thank you.
Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already, and we will see you at some point again soon. Bye.
Bye.